Hello everyone, welcome to the Two-Suit webinar, Zero Trust in OT Security, Changing AI Technology Landscape. My name is Stephanie and I'll be your moderator today. Let me take you through the house rules for the webinar. Please connect through LAN instead of Wi-Fi for better connectivity if available. Please view this webinar using recommended browsers, Chrome or Firefox if available. Kindly note the host has put you on mute to avoid any disturbance. Though we are using technology for advantage, there may be a time lag between slides. The expert will try to adjust the slide. If you have a problem, please mention it in the chat window. Please use the chat option in the Q&A window to ask questions during the session. We'll log all the questions and expert address them during the Q&A session after the presentation. We would also like to invite you to take part in our poll questions, which will be posted throughout the webinar. So before we begin the session, here's a quick introduction for our speaker, Mr. Vaibhav Sharma. Vaibhav is an advanced manufacturing senior manager in OT cybersecurity and software quality at Two-Suit. He has over 17 years of working experience in industrial cybersecurity, where he has previously worked as a CSA Zero Trust Architectural Exam Reviewer and co-chair for the Cloud Security Alliance CSA IoT Working Group. Currently, he is a senior member of the ISA Working Groups and Standard Committee. Vaibhav has substantial industrial experience with technical, communication, and delivery skills in greenfield, brownfield, and migration projects across domains. He also has global experience, mainly in the oil and gas, energy, manufacturing, chemical, and automotive sectors. In this webinar today, he will provide insight on zero trust principles and industrial cybersecurity standards to ensure compliance and safeguard critical infrastructure against cyber threats. So on that note, I will hand over the presentation to Vaibhav. Over to you, Vaibhav.
Thank you, Stephanie. Hello, everyone. Today's topic, we're going to talk about industrial cybersecurity. And welcome to all of you. Welcome to this webinar of industrial cybersecurity, where industrial securing your operational technology is the main focus for today's discussion. Going to talk about securing the heart of operations, where critical role of OT security in today's industry landscape along the side of artificial intelligence are the few cases being lined up to being part of this today's webinar. The major focus will be what is OT security, considering what defining the OT security in today's line, considering differentiating with your traditional IT and comparing to operational technology, explaining how OT security focuses on protecting these industrial systems from the cyber threats, definitely. And also briefly we'll discuss about updates in NERC, CIP, the various standards, and along with the Indian market, what are the AI landscape, how it influenced in the cybersecurity space would be part of our discussion. Why OT security is important would be the most prime question while we're talking about securing the heart of operation. Traditional IT security risks, data breaches are magnified in OT environment today. Considering providing real-world example of successful OT attacks, we know last Stucknest was there quite long time. It's been popular. Today, I'd like to also cover some artificial intelligence, how it continues and evolves. It is becoming highly increasingly integrated with operational technology as we moving ahead and evolving our technologies. This integration is expected to bring significant changes in the way the business operates and manage their processes. Here are some key trends which we will discuss today and hope it enlighten the today's audience with new perspectives, how we see these changing AI landscape. I briefly cover our today's agenda, what we will be discussing today. With the introduction in this session, we likely to provide an overview on industrial cybersecurity, its importance, and the ever-growing landscape of cyber threats targeting the operational technology. In domains in industrial cybersecurity, we will delve into the various domains or areas that industrial cybersecurity encompasses, and it could cover topics like system security, what are the critical infrastructures we have, how the OT infrastructure influenced by the various standards, what are the latest trends, need of certification and regulation. this would be the interesting topic for today. We will explore the rationale behind the cybersecurity certifications and regulations for industrial cybersecurity. It might discuss how these frameworks help to ensure minimum level of security postures and promote the best practices. Standard and certification for ICS. Here we likely to learn about establishing the standards and the certification program, the conformity uh, assessments, which is a part of industrial automations, where now example include for various standards, conformity schemes are available, like 6443. In our regulation and regulation and the changes, expected changes in Indian market, we will discuss about specifically for the context of South Asia or India. We likely to cover existing regulation around industrial cybersecurity, focusing on geographical location of India, how it is flourishing. General certification path for certification. This section majorly talks on how the certification generally been working for various other schemes. Now, I can say zero trust are the two topic where we refers the NERC, North American Reliability Corporation Critical Infrastructure Protection Standard, in which we likely explore the standard, the concept of zero trust security, its application, and how along the benefit of zero trust, the challenges, what are the planning and operating of these zero trust principles. The last topic we will cover is OT cyber attacks. Concluding part will be definitely the AI use cases along with these cyber attacks. So let me start with the industrial cybersecurity landscape. What is the industrial cybersecurity landscape? Imagine the world in a single functional traffic light that is potential impact by cybersecurity on today's complex industrial system. What can go for far with our imagination? It's a bitter truth of reality that OT has many cyber threats, and reducing the attack surface is major concerns always. So, if we see globally, did you know that industrial automation is projected up to 380 billion industry for 2025? And the growth comes with rising need of robust OT cybersecurity. Considering today's industrial control system, the modern industrial system is the backbone for managing and automating the critical processes across the various sectors. So, for power generation, refinery, manufacturing plants, or water treatment facilities, many options are there. Modern ICS environment is potential consequences if we talk about considering generally these are coming from the successful cyber attack happen on these consequences will be coming out of like a production stalls, like hacker can disrupt or disable critical controls, bringing production line to shrinking hard, considering this can lead to any missed deadlines or production shortages or loss of revenues. Those can occur. Data breach scenarios, sensitive operation data can be leaked, blueprints or considering intellectual property can be stolen or sold or maybe sold to black market, which jeopardize the competitive edge. Another potential consequences in industrial landscape considers safety at risk, means malicious actors can manipulate control system, causing equipment malfunctioning and potential leading to safety hazards like environment damage or even physical injuries. Financial aspects is also there. Means falling out of these financial aspects will be combined impact of consequences, which can be financially cripple or kind of regulatory fines or cost of rebuilding. Those are part. Uh, Rebuilding trust can be the part of these consequences. The third landscape point of view where I would highlight the focus will be rise of attacks which happening. So it increased the urgency of robust security measures. Robust security measures, we're talking about the growing number of attacks. It definitely need because happening because of increased connectivity. Like modern industrial facilities are now more and more interconnected than ever and creating new vulnerabilities for attackers to exploit. It's kind of a cherry on the cake. Sophisticated threats, which are coming by cyber criminals, which are continuously evolving their tactics using the advantage of malware techniques to target OT system, are evolving, increasing with AI. It's adding more and more attack scenarios for these threat landscape. What are the value of these target infrastructure? Industrial infrastructure is a lucrative target for attackers, which can disrupt the operation, and that's the stealing value for these kind of attacker who may steal valuable data out of it or may cause any damage or hazardous situation for any disrupting the human or a life lost there. So we understood the landscape of industrial cybersecurity, but what encompassing all these industrial security focus on safeguarding the critical infrastructure. And these infrastructure is critical because we want to secure from various cyber attacks, which within this broad field, there are various domains and each with its unique challenge and security need. I like to highlight here a few domains like considering operational technology actually encompass by definition the hardware and software and networks that control all managing the physical industrial processes. So these systems are kind of unsung heroes working entirely behind the scene to ensure our critical infrastructure works smoothly because operational technology is the heart of this operation. Is like industrial control system, ICS, distributed control system. We have many names to give it, but it's a kind of a core heart who automate the manual processes, and that's how these operational technologies works. For the light, from the light that coming the power to our cities, to the or the water we drink, the ships that transport the goods across the globe. Operational technology silently forms the backbone of our modern world. But what exactly is OT? So, diverse domain of these OTs are considering let delve into the diverse landscape of various OT application across various sector. I'll take one by one like energy. This domain encompass how the power generation, transmission, and distributed. Protecting the system will be crucial. Consider a situation to prevent any blackouts. Imagine a power grid outage plunging an entire city into darkness. And this is a potential consequences of cyber attack targeting energy sector OT system that manage power generation, transmission, or distribution. Another section would be let's take it manufacturing. So domain include various industry like automotive, aerospace, chemical, pharmaceuticals, with securing manufacturing process is essential and is to maintain the product quality, preventing any disruption in the product, which is protecting the intellectual property rights also in this. Key areas of concern would be industrial robots in this space, data acquisition system, which is called SCADA also. This system control manufacturing processes. Supply chain attacks, considering happening in these manufacturing case. So if we say the worst case scenario, manufacturing flourish with the help of OT system, which control the production lines, like robots, manufacturing process. Any cyber attack can disrupt this production and damage the equipment. Another technology, if we take transportation, the domain encompasses air, land, and maritime transport systems. So in transportations, intelligent transport systems are generally part of it, and they are interconnected technology with various cybersecurity measures to make sure it works fine and cure the various threats. Another would be autonomous vehicle in the transportation category. Vehicles introduce new cybersecurity challenge for reflecting by the various sensors used in it or communication network. Same. So these modern transport relies heavily on OT for various consider like example for air traffic control, railway signaling, traffic management system. So breach in these system can disrupt the transportation and network, endangering the lives of the people also who've been using the transport. I guess similar example for us would be maritime sector. Modern ships and port rely on integrating navigation systems, cargo management system platforms, or communication networks to all provide the OT vulnerabilities in this system can be exploited for thefts or disruption of maritime traffic. So, if we see that cyber attack can disrupt the port operation or manipulate the shipping routes, it would be catastrophic, and damages will be financial losses will be also too high alongside of the I would say the human life also along with it. So, what are I'm trying to focus here with all of you is OT should seen as a wider lens, considering there are multiple domains in operational technology like energy, transportation, digital technology, manufacturing, maritime, water and waste treatment. So, water is also critical for us as a water treatment plants. Safety or water supply lines is critical. It's a critical part of critical infrastructure. And the last would be digital or cloud IoT, considering many optimization and growing integration of digital technology, the Internet of Things in OT system expand the functionality. But it's also introduced a new attack surface, and we need to comprehensively develop the cybersecurity strategies to secure these increasing interconnected environments. So we discuss about various domains in digital cybersecurity. So let's see the latest trend coming all in these domains. Considering 51% of organization today plan to increase the security investments, considering the post breach, including their incident response planning and testing, which include the employee training and threat detection and response tools. So it's a very high number where organizations are investing. 4.45 million, the global average cost of data breach in 2023 was a 15% increase over the last 3 years. 1.76 million, the average saving for organizations that use security, AI, and automated extensively compared to organizations that don't do it. So here we can see the factual data in terms of how AI and these technology working together, and there are multiple saving ROI cases for operational technology. Considering operational technology proves to be increasing more and more difficult, there are the three major trends in it. If we see which helping in the today's era, considering secure by design, adopting digital ecosystem, compliance to regulatory requirement. These are the three latest trends being growing in the industry. Security by design, traditional security measures are no longer sufficient. The concept of security by design emphasizes integrity security consideration throughout the entire life cycle of OT systems, from design, development to deployment and operation. This proactive approach aims to build security into the core of OT system, making them inherently more resilient to cyber attacks. If we see security by design implementation, various smart technologies, smart sensors, actuators, cloud or OT platforms, where you see latest trend of technologies like smart meter or smart cities, they adopting these secure by design principle, where development of software is being more and more trying to embed the security at initial stage of software development. If we talk about adopting digital ecosystem, the modern industrial facilities are increasingly interconnected, forming a complex digital ecosystem. So that include OT, IT, cloud environment for any major process automation. If you see, in past we've been using very narrow lens of silo approach. So a silo approach to a security is no longer effective. Uh, in OT cybersecurity strategies must now encompass the entire digital ecosystem, ensuring secure communications and data exchange across all interconnected systems. The last trend, which I referred earlier, compliance regulatory requirement, is maybe interesting topic to many of the audience today, considering part of Tufsud also we've been expert TIC in the same space. So we're coming on this trend from our experience. These regulatory requirements for OT security are becoming increasingly stringent. Government around the world are recognizing the critical role of OT infrastructure and are introducing regulations to mandate minimum security standard. Staying compliant with these regulations is not just about meeting legal obligation. It is also demonstration an organization committed to protect critical infrastructure from cyber attacks. So that's why compliance and regulatory requirement being now followed in terms of getting done the conformity assessment for various organizations based on multiple standards like IC 62443, who has already schemes which help the organizations to achieve a compliance to a certain security maturity levels and get them in the view of having a already certified baseline with them for their product or the softwares or for proven security measures taken in consideration. Moving on, let's see how many of you feel what impact do you think OT security will have on your business. Give a few seconds for people to provide their inputs. Yes, the results shine. Everyone thinks in the same direction. That impact is high. Most of the members have voted. Considering, yes, even if you are from not directly from OT industry, you are working in an IT industry, the impacts connected to OT and IT integrations, it creating a high impact to that environment. Thank you for your inputs. Let me take this topic further to showcase you the results. How many of you have responded? So we see 66% responded high. I see the way audience have already quite acumen on the topic what I was talking earlier, compliance and regulatory, considering they understand the impact. So let's dive into more detail the need of these certification and regulation. The ever increasing sophisticated landscape of and the frequency of cyber attacks in OT system necessitate a multi-phased approach in cybersecurity now. While traditional security practices are essential, definitely, we need additional layer of defense. And that's where the certification regulations come into the play. These frameworks establish a baseline level of security and provide a standardization approach to secure the OT systems. Generally, that's where the certification comes very handy. Certification in industrial control, cybersecurity establish the industry-specific best practices and standard, and this provide a framework for organization to assess and improve their cybersecurity posture. By obtaining certification, companies demonstrate their commitment to security and gain the trust of stakeholders. Certification also help organizations identifying vulnerabilities, implement effective security measures. What regulation talks about now, being understood certification. Regulation ensure the minimum security standard, which are met in a critical sector. They establish legal requirements for cybersecurity and hold the organization accountable, which is the important part in regulation. They hold accountable for protecting sensitive information in the critical infrastructures. Regulation help in preventing the cyber attacks, which overall reduce the impact of breaches, promote a culture of security. They also facilitate information sharing, collaboration among the organization, which help in knowledge sharing, considering enabling them to learn each other experience, and it's help in overall improving the security. So regulation also help in evolving the cyber landscape. Regulation also create industry-wide awareness on these critical security infrastructures, key threats which been in the monitoring for organization who've been impacted, have the lesson learned being shared, and this help the organizations which are not yet impacted and can implement those lessons learned to protect themselves. So we understand the importance of these regulations is paramount. Benefit of through these regulations coming out is various conformity statement where objective, trust and transparency, market access is now in some cases compliance with specific regulation or certification may become a requirement for these market access in certain industries, which strengthen the security, relationship, trust and reputation, knowledge sharing, and consistency practice, which we just recently covered. Let's see how many of today in the this webinar feel do you think that certificate and regulation should be mandatory for OT environment? I see this is the fastest response, considering most of the audience already see it should be mandatory, and I believe this is that's where it would be a most happy situation for me to see the audience already see in the same lens the way I'm trying to put a message in this webinar. Let's see how this mandatory certificate topic prevails in India as a landscape of these current state in industrial cybersecurity regulation in India. Due to the rise of cyber attacks, India the process is being under development, where government trying to put regulations in it, providing a laws where government industrial cybersecurity can be formulated in a sense and manner where obligation of fines and duties can be put on. So, what are the various industries to or various bodies, I would say, who are active in this space? Our Information Technology Act we have in 2000, and there are amendment to it. We have Electricity Act 2003. Standard of Quality of Service is a regulation which telecom sector generally use. NCIPC Act, which is still regulatory bodies are pushing towards us. This act establishes a central authority responsible for protecting critical infrastructure, especially CIA in India. And NCIPC plays a vital role in developing and implementing cybersecurity policies and guidelines for CIA sector, including those with the heavy reliance on OT industry. So this would be a direct connection to the OT, and I would say in line with this, CERTIN is also there. Indian Computer Emergency Response Team. While not explicitly be focusing on OT security, but CERTIN plays a crucial role in overall cybersecurity within India. So it can be valuable resource for organization seeking information and guidance on cyber threats and incident response. So it covers IT and OT both sides, where the Information Technology Acts, which the IT Act plays a significant role in ensuring securing data handling practices within the OT environment. Some are conformity assessment related, which are like we're going to talk about in RTI. The regulatory landscape is evolving every time, considering new design directions are being given. So the conformity assessment being a part of these design is already embedded in these regulatory circulars, amendments. Those amendments already covering importance of conformity assessment and involves the independent verification of by the aggregated bodies to ensure the OT system comply with established security standards. Let's see how many of you feel practice of secure by design in software development lifecycle is being followed. So it's definitely a question for people who've been coming from integrators or been coming from asset owner role perspective. That's where I see still in India we evolving on this concept of a new trend in OT security. I see a lot of you already responded. So let me show you the results. So we see 81% already started following it, secure by design. So as a principle in software development, that's a good state for us that every organization is putting effort towards adopting this principle. So a perspective of Indian market, let's see expected change in industrial cybersecurity based on regulation in India. Indian government is already working on new national cybersecurity strategies, which is expected to include the provision for these industrial segments, especially industrial cybersecurity part. MITY is already Ministry of Electrical, Electronics and Information Technology is quite active, who had uh, with, given the provision for industrial cybersecurity. They released a draft of National Cybersecurity Policy 2023, which purpose a number of measures to improve the industrial cybersecurity, including mandatory reporting of cyber incidents. So organizations have to report their cyber incident. So it's already started. Development of sector-specific cybersecurity standards. So each sector specific, they're providing development of the various standards, considering power industry, oil and gas. Keep on evolving it. Public-private partnerships to promote the cybersecurity awareness, and the best practice has been already started uh, by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. If we see what are other organizations which are active in the Indian regulation market, the major one recently, the change came in the Research and Design and Standard Organization (RDSO) under Ministry of Railway, who already adopted um, the functions of a technical advisory and consulting for railway ports, which issued recent version of their advisory, which is based on OT cybersecurity audits. So they already referred that as per RDSO, their OEM should be compliant with secure by design, and how they complying with it. They're asking them to get them uh, complete their conformity assessment to get the certifications, to get them certified, what kind of product they're giving. Are they their product covered with secure by design with certification of secure SDLC? So proving that their software development lifecycle are following certain maturity levels of security in it. So generally comes with the standard of IEC 62443. There are other bodies also active in India, like Reserve Bank of India has also issued a guideline for regulated entries in the financial sector on cybersecurity, which include the uh, measure to protect the industrial control systems also, considering they are interconnected in certain domains where financial systems have also been impacted based on any loss in production houses or in terms of industrial control system being under threat. So these are the various demographics which comes in mind when we're talking about Indian regulated market. We are slowly and gradually evolving in this space. Other regions have mandated regulations. India is already putting a pin on that side and growing. So what first thing would be more challenging when we're talking about standard and certification for industrial automation? Generally, there are, if you see in front of you right now, it's a overall ecosystem, or we say the architecture, in terms of how this operational technology works. If you see at the bottom of the pyramid where the components are there, process, there are maintenance, logistics, manufacturing things are there. Like in power generation, you see this is a device level sensor, actuator, machines who actually connects and share the data with the control systems. And these control system, via the control rooms handling them, they're all sophisticated applications, manage overall services to provide a pyramid approach of any communication layers uh, of whole manufacturing process. This is correlate with any of the manufacturing process or other domains also. So it's a common pyramid, but the challenge is what kind of scheme, what kind of conformity assessment the organization should go. So it's totally question mark for each industry considering for themselves. But if we see the solution, what I've been proposing on the screen right now, if you're talking about the services which are in the management level, if the top level of pyramid, usually the importance is ISMS, 27001, those standard being used readily, or ISO 25051, like ready to use software production. These are the earlier part of it. But now the industry have adopted the global international standard, which IEC 62443, to certify or to have a conformity assessment done for their products or their services, where IEC 62443, 3-3, 4-1, and 4-2 plays a vital role. These are the standards being adopted internationally and recognized that it cover and encompass multiple domains in operational technology. What is the strength in there is considering certification regulation provides structure approach to cybersecurity. Definitely, it helps the organization enhancing their security measure and protect against cyber threat. But these standards are their way of tool who help them to showcase their baseline of security. So if we talk about 62443, generally the most asset owners, integrators, and OEM have always a different level of scheme and based on approach how they move toward the target of secure by design and complying in regulated requirements by having certified with their services or with their products. They generally follow various certification services. So here I like to give a little more information about kind of accreditation bodies active in this space, including TÜVSÜD also. It gives you our neutral perspective of how we see all these schemes in IEC 62443. And generally, this is the most asked question by many of my colleagues, friends, and I would say the audience usually generally post the question. IEC 62443 standard outlines security requirement for industrial control system. Implementing these requirements definitely enhance the security posture for the infrastructure. However, demonstrating compliance required independent verification. So these key uh, conformity assessment schemes are the various ways to getting it compliant. So the first scheme is ISA Secure. iSecure have developed the scheme of IEC 62443, under which a comprehensive approach to security assessment being done on three different standard category. If you see SDLA, Secure Development Lifecycle 4-1, it refers to IC 62443 4-1 standard. CSA, Component Security Insurance Program, SSA 4-1 and 3-3 covers. So if we see another scheme who have the same standard, which is IEC CV scheme, it's a IC conformity testing scheme for electronic equipment and component. This is an international scheme, facilitate the market access to manufacturers of electrical and electronic equipment, including ICS components. So it's been also adopted by various manufacturers. These certifications still based on IEC 62443. They follow a network of NCB, national certification bodies, that conduct the assessment and issue the certificate, which recognize internationally. Last on the list, if you see the TÜVSÜD mark, our own mark, TÜVSÜD is also recognized global certification body offering variety of conformity assessment and the services. We offer certification against IEC 62443 which provide the independent verification that a product or a system meets the security requirement, outlining the standard of 6443. But what is the various interconnection between and the difference in this? The structure of like ISA secure scheme offer more holistic approach, going beyond just the product testing or including system engineering practice and vulnerability. CB schemes, i.e. CB schemes, is primarily focused on facilitating market access through the international certification. While if we see 2 mark is used for various purposes, including internal assurance, market access. So it's kind of being most adopted by globally, considering how the structured approach have been given to the various customers, how they can adopt and have these conformities to be very compliant. Choosing the right scheme definitely a part of the process, and level of insurance, how deeper we go in the security assessment compared to product level testing, the cost and time difference, those are definitely a pointers in uh, deciding about which scheme the organizations like to go. Let's see how these schemes also important, but there are various more standard which are coming in this space. In India market, power generation or a power industry, I would say, already recognize the importance of standard. That's why RDSO have included those in their requirement to follow. But in power sector, beyond Indian territories or geographical regions like Canada, UK, US, they already have NERC, North America Electrical Liability Corporation Critical Infrastructure Protection Standard, which are specific to definitely North America. But the Indian market can learn valuable lesson and adopt similar principle for its own critical infrastructure in the energy sector, and how they are interconnecting this, adapting the security measures. India can adopt the NERC principles and specially regulated requirement, which include the technology landscape, and this could involve develop sector-specific security standard or incorporating NERC CIP best practices into existing regulation. This is the only standard being developed in 1960, which had from start a motive to provide a structure-based fines on in case they are not being followed. So these are the one of the few standard who formulated fine approach of fine and imposing in case being non-compliant by the industry who have to adopt these standards. So they mandated it. The, so usually power and utility leaders can now make the informed decision and balance the benefit of cloud adoption and the critical need for these security and compliance to any RCCIP. Even Microsoft had recently launched this standard in their cloud part, considering they adopted the cloud adoption security approach, where they providing uh, helping the organization through the Microsoft how they can ensure them being compliant to any RCCIP. So this is definitely for uh, power sector a good approach to see the inspiration from standards like any RCCIP. Let's move to the approach where what to do now. We know understand the standards. We understand there is a attack scenarios in OT threats are very high and they are critical. I like to focus on the zero trust. This is in today's digital world. OT/IT convergence is as increasing, and securing the critical infrastructure is paramount. The past approaches, what you use, traditional parameter-based security models, are no longer enough, and they are not enough in terms to combat the sophisticated cyber threats we have. So, entering the zero trust, a cybersecurity paradigm that shift the focus from impact trust to continuous verification. Earlier, the approach were towards um, zero in old parameter fencing security model worked in a different way. In zero trust, we always see these three principles on the screen right now. Never trust, always verify. So assume every user, device, and application is untrusted until proven otherwise. So we seeing this in a sense of OT also, where generally operator single login being used for all the operators in the production control rooms. Those are the flaws we had in OT security earlier. Least privilege access, granting only minimum access to required for specific tasks, is one of the principal for zero trust. Microsegmentation, dividing the network into smaller isolated segments to the limit lateral movement, is part of zero trust approach. By implementing these continuous authentication, authorization controls, we definitely lower the risk with the potential damage. And this is important, I would say, evolving concept towards the operational technology, how organization can adopt this principle. Keeping in mind, this is a principle to adopt, not a technology in terms. So this is a combination for you to consider as a principal architecture approach in your design. So by we trust zero, we take zero trust in OT. That would be the most provoking thought that comes in mind why this we should do now. So considering definitely the rising cyber threat would be the one contributing reason, but it helps access control for the devices by zero trust. You can just continuously monitor them, how many devices are trying to access the network. You determine if any of these devices possesses any risk or need a verification for it. Similarly, for converging in IT and OT, so it include and helps both factors for you as a advantage to it. In past, we generally follow the castle and moat approach, but now OT security is outdated with castle and moat approach, and with new convergence and digital ecosystem, zero trust provide a stronger adaptive security model. Considering having more remote access, data sharing in it, and the compliance requirement to be followed. Let's see how many of you feel about this particular zero trust. Does an asset owner indicators follows these while connecting to outside network? Considering outside network, consider you connecting your IT to your OT or connecting your cloud towards OT. I see a fast response. Most of you already responded that yes, they follow the REST principle. So it's I would say being well accepted and adopted. So it's good to understand the industry is moving towards adoption of zero trust principle. Let's talk about some use case in zero trust. So, so consider the example for industrial IoT. Cloud platform security is important. Your edge devices which are in field, which are connected to PLCs or different distributed control system, sending a data to the cloud so that cloud platform can analyze those data and provide certain actionable outcomes. So using establishing a zero trust architecture gateways to control and manage the cloud access is the first use case for the cloud platform security. Ensuring only authorized users and device can access these sensitive data is part of zero trust actions you can take. Also, if you're using it for cloud platform security, enforcing the multi-factor authentication for all root accounts and enhancing this authentication will definitely reduce your risk of unauthorized access. Additional layer to it, utilizing the SAML authorization for seamless integration is also for your SaaS or PaaS application will help in streamlining the access and enhancing the security. So consider this would be the direct use case of zero trust for our cloud security platform. If we see zero trust solution for remote access, several zero trust network like ZTNA solutions are available to securely facilitate the remote access for third party partners. Secure Access Service Edge, a cloud-based architecture who integrate the services like access control, threat detection, which enables the secure remote access for authorized users. So granting access to these granular level requirement for specific tasks prevent the lateral movement of unauthorized access. And in OT specifically, if you see that how it is important, we have many vendors or OEMs who provide the support to your operation for maintenance and preventive maintenance for your OT infrastructure. They continuously keep on logging to your environment. So securing those external services which you offload for certain vendors to manage for you for your productions or for your operations. It is important to follow the principle to manage the risk for any supply chain risk, which minimizing these attack surface is to only authorize access to certify approved third parties and providing restricted access to these critical systems. And that's how zero trust becoming more and more vital approach toward this OT cybersecurity. Usually, the first question comes in mind, everyone, how we should approach it. So, I like to highlight here a roadmap, which help the organization and also the audience today to understand how they can take the kind of 8-step approach, which help them to adopt this principle and start looking into the direction. The first step would be defining your OT security goals and objectives. So you should be clearly able to aim what are your goals towards your OT security objectives, what level of security, what level of technologies you like to deploy later on after the stage. So this required a goal determination of achieving certain security levels by the organization. Second, accessing your current OT security posture. So it means when you define your target, you want to achieve certain level of security. So you define your own target level of security in it. It's also required you know your current level in it, so that you know what is the gap and where you like to achieve. Identifying your critical asset is part of the sage. So it's the same. You have your various solution, asset management solution, who does it for you. So identify your critical asset within the organization. Also defining through threat assessment what are your critical assets. Develop this implementation plan at this stage as you identified your asset, your goals, your postures. Develop the implementation plan for your zero trust. Choose appropriate technologies which are existing in your environment already, and if you are open for adopting certain new technologies or gateways which help you to manage faster. But it not necessarily you deploy technologies to achieve this principle. It can start with the all already pre-onboarded technologies where you can elevate your security, and then you decide that how far you are from your target level of security. Train your IT and OT team on this principle so they understand and they follow it. So it helps them guiding, okay, this is a way we can adopt this principle, and it helps eventually implementing zero trust solution in phased manner in 7 steps. The last step would be how organizations see continuous monitoring and improving security posture. So eventually you have your own incident management or solutions already existing, and you monitor continuously all your threats, and which help definitely improving the security posture. What are the key benefit and challenge for zero trust? As you seen the roadmap for implementation, definitely the organization who adopt these principles, they've seen those challenges like they have legacy system in OT. Definitely the cycle time for OT systems are generally from 8 to 15 years, could be anything. So definitely they deal with certain legacy systems. So zero trust principle have a challenge there to adopt it, how to address it. Those will be definitely part of it. Considering legacy systems or are tricky to manage. Operational constraint, downtime, disruptions, this refers to which can be minimized during implementation. Integration complexity. Integrated zero trust with existing OT infrastructure can be challenging in that way. So it is necessary the expertise and the knowledge and the training have been given. So the skill gap is the area which can be filled by the organization to mitigate these challenges. But what are the benefit coming out of adopting these zero trust principle? Definitely reduce attack surface, means you potentially minimizing the potential impact or the breaches by limiting the lateral movement in the network. Enhancing the threat detection and response, continuous verification enable the faster identification and mitigation. Improve compliance, adherence to regulatory requirement. Definitely, it's which help the easier general access controls being defined, and you can easily prove the baselining of your security. Operational agility enable secure remote access or data sharing, improve the efficiency. As we see in the zero trust, what are the top attacks in OT cyber attacks. There are many type of attacks are there already, but I like to highlight attention here for all the audience today is only the top three, which are mostly seen in OT cybersecurity side, means operational technology, manufacturing in the domains we discussed earlier. Denial of service attack is most of the common evolving in the OT landscape. So it's a DOS attack who aim to overwhelm the OT systems with a flood of traffic or rendering them unavailable for legitimate operation. And this can disrupt the critical process, causing a significant downtime. So example would be like botnet attack or DDoS attacks. These are targeting network infrastructure attacks, so specific to control system. And generally, the mitigation strategies for this are IDS, IPS solution. You keep maintaining to monitor your network and understand if there are any DDoS stack or DOS stack being performed. So even a small pinging attack will come in DDoS attack category, considering you halting the network or consuming the bandwidth to make the system unresponsive. Advanced persistent threat (APT). APT are sophisticated cyber attacks carried out by a skilled advisory or skill for long-term goals. These often target specific organization employees to combining the technique to gain the access and the control and steal the data or disrupt the operations. So a general example for them is spear phishing attacks. OT personnel generally get at the emails, and that's how they grab into it. Exploiting the vulnerabilities in ICS systems. So it's a software-based system. Definitely, if it not been key, in past it was not being developed with a secure development lifecycle mindset. Uh, those vulnerability will affect, and that's why secure by design become very important in to avoiding these attacks as a part of mitigation strategy. You can provide multi-factor authentication to leverage the security or anomaly detection solution in OT also to cover it. But in the crux, if you had a software who've been rugged to with the security in initial stage, definitely some of these attacks will avoid it. Insider threats, these are the mostly threats comes with stealing of data, sabotaging a control system, or sometimes accidentally introduce a vulnerability through any poor patching or security patches, or legacy devices sometimes do not have those even patches. So generally the mitigation strategy for these will be conducting background checks or enforcing privilege access control, fostering the culture of security awareness, will help definitely organization to manage the insider threats. There are other attacks also considered in this category, like some social engineering attack or supply chain attack, phishing, and the newly recent discovered from last 1 or 2 year AI-based cyber attacks also come in, which are generally the tools who knows DDoS attacks and they keep on hogging the network, pushing certain commands. Those attacks are also being noticed a lot. So we already talked about now attacks. Let's move toward the future. How this performing any risk assessment in OT will cover deploying the AI solution in this space as the AI solution attacks we see been increasing. So right now it's a four segmented view to understand the breakdown, like asset inventory management, identifying all your connected OT IoT devices will help gaining the insight directly from endpoint for added context. And this can be done by AI solutions also today, who help you get grabbing it automatically. Threat detection and response means accessing AI powered insight to prevent event from being major impact, continuously monitoring those assets which you've seen earlier in your asset inventory. So scaling the threat detection and response across the entire operational infrastructure would be a mitigation part in it. Privilege access management, universal zero trust network access, definitely supporting regulatory compliance with industry standards like NIST, CSF, CISA, or any IC 6240, where privilege access controls being followed. Continuous network monitoring, same principle, zero trust base being applied to it, the eighth step of the zero trust planning. In this, universal control network remote access will be granularly monitored, and ensuring high availability and resilient for robust architecture will be followed. Let's see in future we already been adopting the OT cybersecurity assessment quite long time. So it's been done from last 5 to 8 years. Organizations are well aware they have to perform assessments, which is kind of OT assessment, where you perform vulnerability assessment, generate a report based on your asset discovery, monitoring for various environment, based on network analysis tools like DPI based principle, IDS, IPS, who have been collecting the information. Also, several behavior based modeling engines we use specifically to SCADA or the DCS, and it generates a score based calculation which help to provide your each device or asset based scoring mechanism to provide you risk, impact, and probability of impact. And this way you perform your whole OT security assessment. But now the previous OT framework which you see on your screens also was talking about organization risk, asset management, access control, network security, physical security, anti-malware, OT incident, but nowhere they're talking about the AI technology which you're deploying in OT environment. So now it's also important for organizations who using any AI solutions in this space, they should consider the use of AI technology in OT space is steadily increasing and offering benefits such as improving process automation, which is tagging along with preventive maintenance and anomaly detections. However, deploying these AI solutions introduce new consistency in OT risk assessment, but consideration to these AI standards should be given when you're performing the OT assessment. So, what are those standards? These are ISO 27090, ISO 22989, and ISO 23894. Uh, I will cover more detail on these standards, but how we correlate with it. Consider an IST framework you're using for OT assessment, and you have AI solution being deployed already in your environment, like for your IDS or IPS. You generally don't treat it as your infrastructure of OT, but it should be considered in the congestion once you finish your OT assessment, adding the risk probability coming out from these AI-based solution. So you need a risk model also from these AI solution. So generally ISO 23894 define the AI risk assessment model already. Also 22989 provides you framework on risk assessment approach. So with various standard we use in operational technology like ISA 6443, NERC, and IST, they should see in the conjunction with AI technologies being deployed in OT landscape. So let's see the holistic view of these OT and AI standards. Standards, why we adopt these in AI side, especially standards of the fundamental framework here, definitely, which benchmark our auditing systems and organizations. So considering assessment means for the conformity assessment before introduction of any high risk or high impact AI system into these operational technologies, they should facilitate monitoring of those AI solution standards, which help the operational technology experts to also see the congestion of connectivity between their AI deployed solution in OT space, like data governance. If they see the standard for auditor accreditations are 42006, but for the governance 38507 ISO is already there. So they can be referred while you're using any framework like any RC or an ISD in your manufacturing, power, or railway industries. So here it's a kind of a mapping to show you how the conformity standards also being mapped to AI. So being part of a renowned organization like Tufsud, we also help the organization to perform these AI-based assessments, where operational technology is one of the space where they're using it, or in IT technologies, both sides. But considering various cybersecurity standard being used, like in railways, we use 50701. So it's not manufacturing, but in railways. But what is the standard? You correlate with it. If you have in railways based AI solutions who are using and deployed and connected with your automation process technology in railways, so you will follow 27090 as a cybersecurity standard, or 23894 as a AI risk management framework. which help to correlate outcome of those solutions to link with your assessments which you're performing, maybe in marine also. Like marine uses unified requirement of E26 and 27. So you combine this UR26 E26 design is also based on IC 62443. So you combine the result of assessments you're performing in your marine or railway, where you see there are additional assets we've been using. Those assets are AI based solution, and you should definitely cater in the congestion your assessment, including those risks also. So this is more to give you example how in various standard being used in AI and in conjunction with your operational technologies, various segments. The last compliance and conformity statement would be interesting to see here. 62443 is one of the scheme already there for conformity assessment, and for automotives, you see ISO 21434 are already there for cybersecurity management system. Last from my side would be how to conclude the message of AI landscape changing in OT environment. This is a holistic view to showcase how these technology playing a vital role in this. As AI is rapidly transforming, the landscape of operational technology is changing. So while AI adopting in OT is still evolving or maturing, I would say, several current use cases are available in today's, like preventive maintenance. AI algorithm can analyze the sensor data from equipment to predict the potential failure before they occur. So the use of those technology, you can see that in integration part would be there, as it's a connectivity between it. Supply chain management, AI are optimizing the inventory level, streamlining the logistics. So chain management control coming out of service now, triggering the asset owners to order their devices in case of failures. Those all are automated in past. Now AI helping them to manage in supply chain, ordering them or pre-ordering them based on preventive management results, the based on tickets generated. So this is a good part of integration being been already been using by mature operational technology organization where cybersecurity is prime focus for them. They're using it, they're helping it, and covering a part of their risk assessments also. Uh, being we have been connected to very largest organizations in top Fortune 500. We've been assisting them in all these technology solutions to evaluate the risk. It help us also to grow, understand the influence of AI in these market space. Another example would be document management system, product lifecycle management, considering many taking a solution approach of securing their software development lifecycle, where they have solution like risk-based inspection planning, QMS, environmental-based health and safety solutions. AI can analyze sensor data where environment conditions can be predicted or any potential safety issues can be predicted in that sense. They're using those results to help in their preventive maintenance scheduling or also sometime managing their quality, who analyze the production data and identify the quality issues coming out of it, uh, predicting the trends out of it. It really helping the whole landscape. So if you see operational technology which connecting operational AI, definitely it's formulating on your left hand side operational optimization. And when you achieve this operational optimization, operational management is main outcome of it. So in the management green space, what you're seeing is MES system, asset performance management system, and QMS. All these are interconnected. So with this slide, I will conclude my message how AI is also influencing the OT landscape and should be seen in the conjunction when performing any risk assessments.
Okay, thank you so much, Vaibhav, for your presentation. So now we'll begin with our Q&A session. Please use the chat option in the Q&A window to ask questions. If you're attending the webinar through a mobile device, please click on the icon with the three lines and click on the Q&A icon to access the window to ask questions. So before we move on to the first questions from our audience, we would like to invite everyone to participate in our poll questions, which you will see here on the screen. Please select all the services which you're interested in, and our representative will get in touch with you. So going back to our Q&A session, the first question that we have received from our audience for you, Weber, is that is the certificate also required for component level or just only at vehicle level?
Okay. No, certification is required at two different levels. So one is software and one is component level. So both level are needed, it depending on the organization which level they like to achieve. The starting point would be software and then the component level.
Okay, thank you so much for addressing the question. And the next question from our audience is, how would the AI Act comprehensively embrace the needs of OT security?
So considering recently Europe have mandated it, and I am generally working with Europe very closely, being part of Germany head office of TÜV. Europe adopted the AI Act, and they already define how to use these technologies. So it is not only addressing the OT side, it addressing the encompassing all OT, IT, and various domains. So it encompasses more towards how to use these technology with the concept of cybersecurity mindset in it. So it definitely linked to your OT addressing needs. The standard which I referred in the slides, you can directly see them how they are interconnecting with your assessment to provide you a model to see the risk-based approach to it.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, so moving on to the third questions from audience is at the start of the webinar, you have shared about the different domains in industrial cybersecurity. So the question from audience is how about for the aviation sector? Is this also relevant for them?
Yes, aviation is also part of it. We keep it little not on the board today, considering it's difficult to cover every domain. But AI also, not AI, sorry, aviation have various process model like operational technology, like conveyor belts, managing on the airports. In the aviation, now the Wi-Fi access being provided onboarded for the passengers. So there are new things evolving in the aviation side also, and those also comes in a preview, but they are not directly as a manufacturing industry, but it's more towards aviation. So the need and the look of the risk review will be changes in those.
Okay, okay, thank you for answering the question. Okay, one more question from the audience is also, what is the timeline for a typical assessment scope?
So generally, organization, like take example, who been going for from manufacturing or any power industry, marketing infrastructure, and they're developing. Let's divide this question in various roles because it differ for each one. If it's an OEM who producing a software and a hardware, for them they like to go for adopting their secure by design and conformity state assessment for their software side. They may take 3 to 6 months to achieve that path. If they're already mature, that cycle may reduce, but generally it's a 3 to 6 months. Same for asset owner who have already environment or operations who like to follow these standards. They generally take 6 to 8 months to have been complied with all their integrated technologies, and also integrators who working under their operational environment to collect the information which necessary to showcase the baseline security what they achieved. So 3 to 8 month timeline for the asset owners.
Okay, understand. Okay, next question from the audience is there a specific cybersecurity standard for the automotive industry?
Yes, I referred in my mapping of standards. So ISO 21434 is the automotive standard, which refers your cybersecurity management system for automotive. So it's been used from the side of cybersecurity, and ISO 26262 is used as a conjunction of safety along with security. So they both goes hand to hand while you performing and seeing from the perspective of cybersecurity.
Okay, thank you so much, Weber. So before we move on to the next Q&A question, we would like to invite everyone to participate in one more poll question, which you can see on the screen. Please select one option that you feel best apply for this webinar session. So going back to the questions from audience is, as per IEC 62443, is the usage of AI tools allowed for OT cybersecurity?
Pardon, could you repeat again the question?
Yes, sure. So as per IEC 62443 standard, is the usage of AI tools allowed for OT cybersecurity?
So standard do not restrict what kind of technology being used in the OT landscape. standard provides a rationale right now in 6443 how to evaluate those technologies or solutions you've been deployed in infrastructure. So there is no restriction to any process owner or asset owners who are using the technology. But I would say IEC 6443 evolving on that side. Like if you see recently, the last scheme was IoT Edge Gateway, which covers your connectivity of devices on premises to the cloud, and they already covering certain roles asset owner or integrator should follow. We're applying the SaaS and PaaS technologies where AI solution being used as an algorithm analysis or fuzzy knowledge to be tested there. So standard already referring those rationals and evolving continuously, but it not restricting any way any organizations to use these technologies.
Okay. Okay, we'll just take one more question. So the question, last question that we will take is, what are the differences between ISO 27001, ISMS, and IEC 62443 in terms of scope and applicability?
So in terms of scope and applicability for generally, ISO 27001 can be a good scale baselining for organization who are developing their policies. The organization who mature OT side more and more, they can adopt the IC 62443 in a conjunction where they see what are the recommendations in the standard for the rational to follow for their product security or their software development lifecycle. Those will come hand to hand.
Okay, thank you so much for addressing all the questions, Weber. So, in view of time, we will not be able to take any more questions from the audience. However, for questions which we have not been able to address, we will revert you via email after the webinar. Please note that Toolsuit can support your organization in protecting your operations and assets with our cybersecurity certification suite solutions for industrial security, including IEC 62443 certification and training. If you have any question, please feel free to write into us on our website. We'll answer them for you. We've come to the end of this webinar. I'm sure that this webinar was interesting and relevant for all of you. Please do visit our website where you get the latest news and updates for our services. So with that, thank you once again for your time, and we wish you a good day ahead.
Thank you, everyone.